Right, hello everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Doctor Who. I'm Josh. Joined with me, as always, is my co-host Jack, and for the
Hi
first
there.
time, and hopefully not the last time, is a very special guest, Racquel.
Hello.
How's it going, JP? How's it going, Racquel? Nice to meet you
Yeah,
both. Well, not meet you,
yeah,
JP.
no, yeah, I know. Yeah, you met me before. Don't worry about it.
Racquel, you were one of the first people to engage with our Instagram account, so thank you very much.
Was
And you've
I?
been amazing keeping in touch, and yeah, we've been sort of getting to know each other after the past couple of years. You do a lot of fan fiction, right? I think this is what I gathered from your profile, and quite recently you shared a piece of work. Am I allowed to talk about it? I don't think I've seen it anywhere that you've shared it, but you sent it to me and it was amazing.
Yeah, you can talk about it. I haven't released it yet. I'm gonna be releasing a new version of my poetry, Sincerely a Companion, um to my Instagram on the 6th.
On the 6th. Okay, what's the significance behind the 6th?
It is the 1 year anniversary of me releasing it.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
Nice.
So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into the episode, Raquel?
I am a creative writer, also a creative marketer as well. I do a lot of fandom things. Everything started with this show, Doctor Who, Sherlock, and I cover all those bases. I write a lot of poetry that has to do with the fan base and just moments in shows, like The Sincerely Companion
Yeah.
is a letter from his companions to the Doctor.
And it is amazing for anybody that hasn't read it. Where can they find it, Raquel?
They can find it on my Tumblr account. It is linked in my description on my Instagram account. I'm going to be making a website, so I'll be making it a lot easier for everyone.
Oh, amazing, amazing. When's the website
Nice.
planning on launching?
The end of August.
And so it's all happening in August then?
Everything's happening in August. All the
Oh,
best
I love
things.
that. All the best things. Well, yeah, thank you very much, Raquel. We're really excited to get you on. I understand you've written 3 pages of notes for the episode Father's Day, which is more than
Yes.
we've done, I think, for the entire series put together, JP, right?
I was going to
Probably
say, yeah, probably
collectively
put
as well.
together. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you was to bundle all of our notes together for the first 8 episodes, I don't think we're quite on 3 pages, but that's I'm quite excited because there's obviously a lot that I've missed. So yeah, no,
What
I'm
happened
excited
me,
to hear
yeah.
it.
Before we jump in, Raquel, one more question. You specifically asked to come on for Father's Day. What is it about this episode that you wanted to talk? Like, well, just what is it about this episode?
I think it's a shift in Rose's mindset, honestly, and her relationship with the Doctor has fundamentally changed. And throughout this point forward, she has a better grasp on what she's actually doing and what her role is now, rather than being a tourist with the Doctor. She is a maker, she is a part of a movement, and she can change things. And I think that kind of scares her in this episode, and she kind of realizes the depth of what she's actually doing with the Doctor.
Love that. Great answer. And yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It does seem to be sort of like a pivotal episode in her change point. I was talking to Jack before, and I hadn't noticed previously, but we've got 2 episodes. So the one before this, the long game, where you've got
Mhm.
Adam, who is a companion that doesn't live up to the mark. And then the very next episode, you have Rose making mistakes and not living up to the mark. So I found that quite interesting to place these two next to each other. And the biggest
Mhm.
question I had for JP was, why does the Doctor dismiss Adam and basically abandon him with a hole in his head, and yet is so forgiving to Rose?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think it. You ever hear of like that cab theory with I think it's like a psychology thing where like if the cab light is on, then you can get into the car. If it's off, then you're going to be struggling to get into the cab. And depending on where people think the Doctor is mentally at a point where he does take Rose with him, his cab light was on. He was accepting companions.
Okay.
He's a lot more open to Rose. I don't know exactly when she would have boarded with him because there's like that theory that like he's traveled for a very long time without her and then kind of like goes back to her, or there's people saying
oh yeah, in the gap in that
she,
first episode. Yeah.
because we don't know. I don't know if that's been answered.
It's probably done in a big finish somewhere.
Yeah, I have not probably been keeping up with it maybe, but depending where you would see that, he's either been alone for a very long time, or he sees a new opportunity, kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, and he gives a lot more grace to her, I think, because he doesn't need another companion. He has Rose. He doesn't need Adam. Who needs that? No one wants Adam.
No one wants Adam.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Jack, you had a pretty good theory on why he's so forgiving this episode.
I did. Yeah. The theory I kind of, at least the take I took from it was the Doctor feels responsible because it was his cock up that caused everything to happen in Father's Day. You know, he should have taken responsibility and said to Rose, "Look, I know you really want to, but we can't go there. You know, we can't mess with time." And I think that he was kind of throughout this episode. I know they had a kind of a bit of a tiff, and he stormed off. But the gravity of the situation, he realised that as soon as he got into the TARDIS, that wasn't the TARDIS; it was just a police box. And then he realised how badly he'd messed up by allowing him and Rose to go back to that point in time where he knew that things probably could change. And I think that's why he was a bit more forgiving in this episode, is because he's not only trying to teach Rose about kind of the whole laws of time travel, I guess, but he's also trying to undo his mistake, and he knows that he made that mistake, and he's the only one that can fix it.
Yeah, I always thought it was a bit strange why he would even I guess encourage or be open to the idea of going back in time like that.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. And then there's that bit where they're in the TARDIS and she asks him, and I think she says something along the lines of, "Oh, well, if you can't do it, don't worry." And he instantly comes back with the, "I can do anything. Like, of course I can do it."
Yeah,
so I think is it him showboating?
I think it's sort of like, let me show you what I can do. And also he's sort of like, yeah, I guess show baiting, because he wants to show her everything he can do. And I feel like he is also in a very bad place because of the Time War. So yes, I think he's a lot more desperate.
I just side note on that. I am going to have to ask you to try not to spoil anything, because Jack is really unaware of, genuinely is unaware of things to come. So I slip up quite a lot with it. But yeah, let's try and keep stuff like that as vague as possible. Yeah.
I was going to say, because I'm literally the only thing I've seen is the previous 8 episodes and the next time thing at the end of the episode, and that's it. That's all I've seen.
What?
Yeah, I know. And the weird thing is I genuinely I mean, I don't live under a rock, so I know of Doctor Who and everything like that. And there's a few podcasts I listen to, and they're massive Doctor Who fans, and he actually specifically did a podcast on Doctor Who on the new stuff. And so I know about that, but I realised I'd never actually seen it, and I was like, this is a great opportunity. It's something to build on, and I can't believe I've never seen them.
I'm so excited for you.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? It is brilliant. I mean, so far we're kind of 8 episodes in, and without spoiling, but it's I've liked every single episode, so it's going to be really, really interesting to see what the first episode that I don't actually like is.
My money's on it being next week.
Really?
Yeah, controversial. I really don't think I like these next 2 episodes. I know you're quite a fan, Racquel. You also asked if you could come on for them. The what is it? The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, the gas mask story.
Yes.
Basically. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
You're really? Why?
I don't know. And I rewatching this series as well. I think the 2-parters in series 1 are just dragged out. They're 2-parters for the sake of being 2-parters. I don't think there's enough story to. I don't think there's enough story to fill them. I remember really liking the Slovene 2-parter. Rewatched it for this run through, and I can't even believe I'm confessing this. I don't even think I finished the second of the 2-parters when I rewatched it this time round.
No,
we did a whole podcast on it, man. How can you?
Well, we
did.
We did a podcast on 1.5 episodes. Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. But anyway,
I mean, it is kind of hard with the farting and such.
I remember remember loving them though. Love the Slovene, love Harriet Jones, everything. But it was just like, oh, this should have been a one-parter.
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, you're now what, 20 years older than, or just under 20 years older than when you probably first watched the episode.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. But anyway, we digress. Racquel, 3 pages of notes. You better start knocking them off, or we're going to put people to sleep, or we're going to run out of time. Go on.
Believe it or not, we've knocked out quite like a page already because of with Rose and how they actually just went back in time and why he would ever allow that.
Oh, I had one more question on that. Sorry. Obviously, we know where this series goes and where Doctor Who goes, but if you can sort of take yourself to a frame of mind where you've only seen like up to this point, do you think there's any romantic undertones? Is he trying to impress her in a romantic way, or is he just trying to be like, well, you're the first companion I've had for ages. I'm going to show off. I can do anything. You're just a puny human and I'm a Time Lord. Like, what would you get just from this episode alone?
I think there is romantic undertone. We started to really see it in episode 3, The Unrequited Dead, when he kind of looks at Rose in the dress and he's like, oh, you're beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
But Jack, you don't think there are any romantic undertones at this point, or you don't, or you think it's quite subtle if it is?
It's a little bit all over the shop, really. It just, like, sometimes they're, kind of, there's flirtatious behavior between them, and you're like, okay, yeah, fair enough. But like, funny enough, at the start of episode 3, where he's like, right, where do you want to go? And it's just all the stuff between them. You just sit there and think, right, that could be, you could see that as almost like the start of an actual relationship. But then, if you look at the start of episode, the episode The Long Game, the Doctor quite literally wingmans Rose. He just goes, yeah, right, say this before he comes out, and that's it. And of course, if you had those romantic feelings for someone, would you actually want to wingman them?
Yeah. I think Adam was his. I think Rose definitely maybe was interested in him. I don't think she was interested in him right away. I think she was more curious. I don't think there's any romantic side coming from Rose. I think it's all the Doctor at this point.
Actually, yeah, thinking out loud as well. Do you think he was trying to assist Rose with going after Adam because he knew Adam wasn't going to live up to it? He knew Adam was never going to be as good as the Doctor. He's like, go for it. Go and see if the grass is greener. And I know when you find out it's not, you're going to come back to me.
Yeah,
exactly. No, yeah, I completely agree to that.
Something to think about. I don't know if they're being quite subtle with the romantic undertones at the minute. I'm not sure it's being forced down our throats. And I don't know. It's interesting to see Jack's perspective, to be fair, because we know where it goes, whether it's romantic or not. And I don't know, are we putting too much of future on it? But anyway, Racquel, what else have you got in your notes?
I guess I kind of going from that, there's the argument that happens between Rose and the Doctor, and she's quite confident that he won't leave her.
Yes.
Yep.
After storming off, and she feels a sort of safety, and as a girl to feel that sort of safety with someone, it's always, I guess not always, but like maybe a romantic undertone to that because of that trust that she has in him. And later she says, like, I knew you weren't going to leave me.
Yes, he's frantically sprinting towards her. Yeah, that breakup scene is just perfect as well. It's so honestly brutal what they're saying to each other and just how it's filmed. And yeah, he takes his key back and he fucks off. But I suppose, is that romantic, or is that the sense that, okay, well, he's trying to be this sensible Time Lord. He's not going to leave me, someone from the future, stuck in the 80s. That's sort of how I got that, to be fair. Because I was a bit like, having seen it as well, I was like, would he actually have left her if the TARDIS was working? What outcome to that situation is there other than he comes back for her?
No, I don't think that he would have left her either way, whether she's kind of hoping that he won't leave her, or the other way where she knows in that kind of not romantic undertone, that trust undertone.
Yeah.
Especially the way like she kind of smirks as she looks back as he's running towards her, barreling towards her on the
Yes,
street.
she does. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, I've got. She thinks she's got his number, but does he? Because he is only running back because the TARDIS doesn't work. The Reapers are coming. There's a stitch in time. Whatever you want to say. Would he have left her? Would he have fucked off for a bit and maybe come back in a year's time or something? We don't really know how attached he is to her at this point. I think this could be like the switching moment for him, like when he does forgive her in the church a bit later on. Is that the difference between her and Adam? Is that when he realizes, oh my God, I do care about you, whether it's as a friend or a companion or, in a relationship? Do you think this could be the turning point?
No, the turning point was him going back in time for her.
Oh, good point. Good point. Because actually, as well, talking about the future, we don't see any other Doctor do this with any other companion.
Absolutely not.
Remember, sorry, Jack, we're jumping ahead of it now.
No, that's fine. No, I mean, look, I'm just here for the ride. I'm just, but again, it's like things that I'm like kind of listening to you guys. It's things that I want to be looking out for. Because I'm still undecided. I still can't work out whether the Doctor would have left her there, and I don't think he would have. I think it would have been more like a cool down period. He would have just kind of gathered his thoughts and gone, right, I better go back and get her. But the only reason that he came back, as you say, was because the TARDIS got turned into an actual police box.
Not an actual police box, a cheap knockoff prop because they couldn't afford the actual police box.
Yeah, you leave the BBC prop department alone. They put a Maggie Thatcher poster up and that was it.
12 shirts, 2 ties, and 10 actors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The same 10 actors, yeah.
I think there was some kind of like meme where they were showing the 12th Doctor and Sherlock wearing like the same colored shirt, and they're like, yeah, it's the same shirt.
Oh, you're joking. On that then, Racquel, and slightly off topic, who's your favourite Doctor?
9.
Is it really?
It is. The brooding hero.
The brooding hero. Okay, love that. And what is it about Creckleston that it makes him your favourite?
It's quite biased because he was the one to introduce me to everything. So I do have a soft spot for him. Next, of course, would be David Tennant.
So basic.
God, I'll give you one guess on who Josh's favourite Doctor is.
Well, no. Give us your ranking. Give us your ranking.
It goes in order. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Oh, it's been very nice having you on as a guest.
I really wish I knew the order. I really. The only thing I know is that Brad, who runs our TikTok and is eventually going to be on, his favourite Doctor is David Tennant. And I'll give you one guess of who you think Josh's favourite Doctor is, Racquel.
Are we talking classic Who as well? Or just
No. Just New Who.
12?
No, it's Jodie Whittaker.
Really?
No, it is 12. Bang on.
I love Jodie.
She got you down on a point, Josh.
Peter Capaldi is the best Doctor, full stop. When we get there, JP, you will understand. He just is.
I don't know. I like Christopher Eccleston. I think Eccleston's great.
Eccleston's a close second, then David Tennant, and then Matt Smith and Jodie are about level for me. But anyway,
I never hear someone tell me that Jodie is their favourite Doctor.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? She was. Let's not get political, but she has some good episodes, but she was massively let down by Chris Chibnall.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Oh, see, I know enough to that we can bash Chris Chibnall for absolutely poor writing. That just because that's the thing. It was what we was talking about earlier. In this episode, this episode has really, really good writing and has really good actors in it, and that's why it's delivered so well. But when you've got a good actor with bad writing, it just completely turns it into a car crash. And that was something I actually know about Chris Chibnall is the writing was so poor and it just didn't help Jodie at all. She obviously tried her best, but that's it. So it's going to be interesting to watch those episodes when we get around to them.
Yeah,
I mean, we can actually look at the foreshadowing of Chris Chibnall with the countdown episodes.
Oh, yes, the pub quiz episode.
You can't have a countdown without Chris Chibnall.
Jack, he genuinely writes a pub quiz episode. It's just a pub quiz. I actually don't hate the episode, to be fair. But what I was like, I watched Chris Preston, David Tennant live as they came out. Matt Smith, I stopped watching after his first series, and then I went back retrospectively, and then I got back into it for Peter Capaldi. But I didn't stop watching for Jodie Whittaker.
I struggled with Jodie, not because of her, but because of the writing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. It's such a shame. But let's not jump forward. We'll have you on as a guest, Racquel. We'll have you on as a guest again. So we could definitely talk about this further down the line. But we're veering into spoilers, and we don't want to skew Jack's opinion before he gets there either.
Yeah,
that's true.
I was actually quite excited when you said Jodie. Like my face lit up. So that's a good sign. Don't, Jack, please do not fall out of Doctor Who.
Well, we're committing to this for the next 4 years, or however long it takes us to get through it all. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm excited to kind of actually have an opinion on who my favorite Doctor is, because I feel like it's going to settle a debate that's been going on between Josh and Brad for absolute years.
David Tennant has the best run as the Doctor. He has the best episodes. He's the most consistent. But Pete, if you're just going on who is the best Doctor, it's Peter Capaldi. Of course it is. The man was made to be the Doctor. We're going to have him on as a guest next week, actually.
You've probably got more chance of getting his nephew on, Lewis Capaldi, you know.
I would die. Anyway, back to the episode. Come on, we need to have some sort of theme to this special bonus episode that we're going to be doing. So bringing it back. What do you think of Pete, Racquel?
Peter Allen Tyler. I can see where Rose gets most of her qualities from.
Yeah, it's exactly what JP said.
I loved him so much, especially with the small things of like, I trusted you. I gave you my keys, and
yeah, it's brilliant. It was brilliant. What an absolutely underrated actor.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was sort of a funny introduction for me when I saw him butchering Jackie's name at their wedding.
I love that bit, but it doesn't make any sense because the priest says it first and you just repeat it after. Like, it is a funny bit, but that's not how weddings work, is it?
I mean, I don't know. I've not been to a wedding for years.
Doesn't the priest go, do you take, Joshua Adam Butt to be your lawfully wedded husband? Then you go, I do take Joshua Adam Butt to be your lawfully. Doesn't it work like that?
I think typically there are also like other ways to get married, of course, but like, I can get his nervousness. So even if the priest or officiant were to say the name, I still think it's a funny bit.
Actually, that's a very good point that I haven't really thought about. They don't go straight back to the day he dies. Rose must have asked to go like on a couple of trips then. Presumably they went back to other times, but she must have said, let's go to the day of the wedding. Let's go to... do you know, like, I hadn't even thought about that until we're just talking about it now. Like, clearly they'd built up to going back to the day that Pete died as well. So that's an extra little layer that I hadn't thought about.
Yeah, because I mean, the emotional toll that Rose would have to take on to see her father die is astronomical. But besides that, she does not have an attachment to him before this point.
That's a very good point.
I do, like you were saying, like you never thought about them taking multiple trips, because I think they would have to observe him for at least more than 10 minutes for her to see these qualities and like, that's my dad. It's not just a story that my mom told me while holding open an album.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
You can look at a picture, but you can't, replay it.
Yeah, a picture's not a person.
And I can get why she would want to go on some sort of like dad world tour sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, as you say, you go from having a picture to, kind of hearing stories, but you want to experience it yourself. You want to see. But I guess the weird thing is that that's all that she's gonna ever get. There's no kind of future. She can't see what it would have been like if he was around and everything. She can only go back to his short life, and that's it. So I think you're right, kind of going on a world dad tour, kind of a dad world tour, whatever it is. That's the only kind of chance she's got to connect with her dad. But yeah, I mean, it made sense actually what you're saying, Josh, about the fact that they probably went to a few different spots and everything like that, because it would be very, very weird if she'd have just gone, I know my dad's dead, but I want to go to the point that he died. It's just a bit of a weird thing to do. Like you get kind of closure from it, but I don't feel like you get all of the closure from it.
Yeah, and it's like if you have the doctor, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, that's it. And he makes a point of saying that they can go anywhere in time or space. So you would just use it. If you've got it there, you would use it. But then I think that's kind of where it goes back to what I was thinking of the episode, is about the doctor showing responsibility, because the doctor makes a point as well, and he says, he says about, do you not think that I'd want to go back and stop the time war and stop my people dying? And if he's done, if he kind of has those rules and he's like, I can't go back there, and I know that it would be difficult for me to not be involved. I just don't know why he would then almost tempt Rose with that. It's kind of like if you was to put a kid in a car, the kid's probably going to crash the car, but and you can't blame the kid, because the kid's been put in the car by an adult. You're responsible for what happens after that happens.
Why don't you know how to drive, you little shit?
I mean, look, GTA. Everybody knows that GTA is a way how to learn to drive, but.
What do you mean you don't know stick shift?
It's clutch, brake, accelerator, CPA. Come on.
In fact, I'm probably the only one that drives a manual car around here, aren't I?
Yeah, I think you are now, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
I know how to drive manual.
Oh, there you go.
You can drive stick.
I was going to say, yeah, because so Josh used to be in the UK with us, and then he moved to Dubai. And of course, in Dubai, everyone drives an automatic. It's just there's just no such thing as a manual car over there. And it's really funny, because I can't wait to see when you come back in the UK, and then I'll just put you, like, you go in a car that's got it's got a gear stick.
I can do it. I drove a 65 Mustang that was I told you this. It was clutch and the gear stick was on the wrong side, the American side. And I didn't install it at all. I installed it once when I was trying to park it, but that's because it didn't have power steering.
Yeah, it was definitely the steering, wasn't it? Must have been.
Anyway, an off-topic question then. You've got the keys to the TARDIS. The Doctor is trying to showboat for you. Where's Racquel? You could start. Where do you go? Forward, backwards, left, right? What would be where would you go? First trip.
That's a hell of a question to ask, to be honest.
Take some thinking time. It's really, it makes for good listening.
I mean, there's a part of me that says going back, but I feel like I would just be teasing myself with something I can't get involved with.
Okay. Can you get involved if you go forward?
I mean,
yeah. Well, that was dumb of me to say. Well, yes, of course.
So you go forward. How far forward?
Do you want? Definitely not to watch a fire, but
yeah, it's raising alarm bells that you said definitely not to watch a fire. Are you an arsonist? Or what is it, an arsonist? Why would you? That's a weird thing to specify that you wouldn't go ahead to do. I definitely wouldn't go ahead to murder somebody. I definitely wouldn't do that. Oh, no, I'm starting to think you might.
I definitely. No, I only said that because Rose went forward and he's like, yeah, this would be such a great experience to see the planets blow up in front of your eyes.
Yeah, what a good first date.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually.
I'd be like, let's go forward in time and watch your house be destroyed.
Yeah, it could be kind of like Futurama, wouldn't it? You know, the bit where he's like stuck in the cryotube, and you just see like the planet get destroyed and then get rebuilt and then destroyed again and then rebuilt. It'd just be like that. You just go, oh, okay, fair enough. How many times has it happened?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a spoiler for season 2, JP, with New York or wherever it is.
Really?
New York.
Nice. I'm going to go back in the edit and make sure you got the exact right amount there.
Yes, thank you.
There you go. And so when we let off there, Racquel was just telling us she wants to go into to the future to watch things burn. JP, what would you do if you were given the keys to the TARDIS for the day?
Oh, if I was given the keys to the TARDIS for the day, well, I would go backwards in time. Definitely go backwards in time. Certain, you get these kind of mysteries, but you get historians and archaeologists and all that. They all argue about. They're like, oh, like the pyramids, for example. How they were built, how they were done, everything like that. I'd love to go back there and just watch and just see what it was like. Like the flight that went missing as well a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I want to be there, see what happened to that. Who was they referenced it in Loki. Do you remember the guy that jumped out the plane? He held the plane hostage.
Yeah. Would you subsequently turn into one of those wankers whenever it gets brought up at the pub? You'd be like, well, actually, it happened this way.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, for sure. I'd be like, look, I'll bet you a tenner that it happened this way. But it'd just be interesting to know, like, because you wouldn't have to do anything. You just sit there and watch. And that was it. So you wouldn't have to worry about any butterfly effects or anything like that. You could just sit there, just watch and go. So that's how it happened.
Oh, God, so boring, though.
My biggest fear with that is that someone's going to come up to me and I'm not going to be able to communicate with them.
You just sat there on your phone or something like that, and they're like, "What on earth is that?" And you're like, "Oh no!"
And you're like, "Oh, no, this is a canon event."
You just have to throw. You just throw the phone away. And you're like, "Nothing. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. You saw nothing." But what was that thing? Nothing. Why'd you throw it? Throw what? That's it.
Oh, it's like when Rose brings her phone out in the episode.
And lovely segue there.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point actually. Yeah, because you would have to be really, really careful, wouldn't you? You'd have to, as you say as well, communication. If you was to go back to I don't know, say for the example I gave, if you was to go back to ancient Egypt, of course they don't speak English. I mean, they don't even speak anything that is spoken nowadays. I don't think.
Did they not speak Egyptian?
I don't know. Well, no, they used hieroglyphics, didn't they?
Yeah, fair point. There's a great episode with Peter Capaldi where he goes back to medieval times and he introduces the word dude.
I genuinely thought they were going to do something like that with the third episode where they meet Charles Dickens. I genuinely thought they were going to do something about that, kind of have the Doctor inspire Charles Dickens or something, but they never did. I was really disappointed with that.
I think they do it with Shakespeare in a couple of series, JP. So that's another one of your theories that comes true.
Oh, there we go.
They exposed Charles Dickens to the word fan.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
right,
they do.
Yes. Yeah.
In their carriage.
How do you resemble a cooling device?
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that actually. Yeah.
There you go. It's nice having an expert on for a change.
Thank you. My skills are now being used for good and not to annoy people.
Just our listeners.
On that person at the pub who's like, actually, it went like that.
Oh God, yeah.
But that's it. That's what you need to be. It's just knowledge, isn't it? That's what you want to know. All right then, Josh, go on then. On his sitting up in his ivory towers. Where would you go then? What would you do?
Oh, without a doubt, 2000 Glastonbury watching David Bowie. Boom, I'm there, front row. Easy answer. Come on, guys.
You'd be in one of those pictures then that is on conspiracy theory Reddit where they have
a mobile phone.
The time travelers.
It's fine. I probably look like I'm from the 70s anyway, so.
Yeah, David Bowie's there on the stage. He's like, right, everybody put your lighters up, and Josh just gets out his iPhone, and it's just like, oh wait,
yeah.
It's like, oh no, the wrong lighter.
What's that? It's a vape.
Yeah. What's a vape? No. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Right, come on, let's bring it back to the episode. Or should we just fuck it off? Should we just have a generic sort of Doctor Who chat? Whatever you guys feel more comfortable with. We haven't done much Father's Day speak on this episode, so whatever you guys feel comfortable with. Racquel, we'll let you spin your wheels for a while.
I do have something to say. Okay, Mickey is so much older than Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say he's, 3 years old in this?
Yeah,
no, that is not a 3-year-old child.
You don't reckon? I don't know what a 3-year-old child looks like, to be fair. How old do you reckon he is in this? You're a nan?
Uh-huh.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
How have you got a grandchild?
No, hold on a minute. No, you've got confused there, mate.
I'm a nanny.
You're a nanny. I got it. I was being obtuse on purpose.
Oh no.
I was like, that is not a 3-year-old child. He is at least 5.
Okay, not the worst age gap I've ever seen.
Oh dear.
Don't be a cunt.
5, 6. Because 1, he's unsupervised. He's just like in the playground about to get eaten, and then he starts running.
Wasn't that because everybody else got eaten?
I had a question though. He's quite clearly wearing a suit in that playground, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's not going to the wedding because he's already late before everybody gets eaten. What is little 5-year-old Mickey doing in a suit? What's this all about?
Well, I said he dresses up. He's a dapper guy. You know, he just dresses up in a suit. Yeah. Yes, you got to flaunt it sometimes.
Are you kidding me? I wear my Mary Janes everywhere. I do dress up a lot, so I can understand a little dapper guy like him. But also,
Jack, are you or I going to ask what a Mary Jane is?
Yeah, no, what is a Mary Jane?
They're little heels.
Okay.
Oh, very nice. I only bring my Mary Janes out on the weekend.
Mary Jane means something completely different to me, but
also, he was going to the wedding. Everyone knew who he was, wasn't he? Or didn't they know?
Yeah, but he was like dead late because I think the bride shows up and they're like, "You've got to do a couple of rounds. People are going missing." Blah blah blah. And Mickey's still just in the park at this point.
Well, because why would a kid be at a wedding?
Why would a kid be wearing a suit to the park?
Maybe they just
because he's at the wedding. He's just doing recreational activities.
Oh, I see. Right, it was a little. It's a park at the wedding.
Yeah, so you need to distract the kid. So you're like, right, I've got to pop over to this house and this house and this house. Put the kid in a park. Let the kid play around a bit, and then you can go do your errands. That's it.
Okay,
that's how parenting works, isn't
it? Exactly.
It's just distracting a child until they're old enough to distract themselves. That's it.
I love Rose imprinting on Mickey. I think that's very cleverly done.
Oh yeah, she was like, I think I've imprinted on him like a mother chicken.
I love that. I also love that the last time we really, not the last time, but he's sort of holding on to her the same way when she runs off with the doctor that first time, just like wrapped around her leg. I thought that was quite a nice little throwback.
Yes. Oh no, I don't want to spoil it. Never mind. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Be vague, be vague.
I like how Mickey develops.
Yes, totally agree with you. Totally agree with you.
To be honest, I know he's only been in a few episodes, but I've seen that already myself. So I was going back to what's the first one with the Slovene? That's World War III, isn't it? Is it World War III or was it the
Aliens in London? I think
Aliens in London's the first one. So the difference between the first time we see Mickey and then that one there, even just like kind of with the Rosie's like in Rose, her workplace blows up and he's like, oh yeah, let's go out for a pint. And then, like, when, like, kind of but it's true, though. That's what he says, isn't it? He's like, oh, come on, go down the pub. And she's like, oh, well, you only want to go down the pub because the football's on. And then when Jackie gets, I think it's for the first time when she gets first attacked by the Slovene, he then said, she's like, oh, I need a drink. And he's just like, no, I'll make you a cup of tea instead. You don't need a drink. Like, it's already those kind of, like, small little developments that he's maturing a bit more.
Yeah, no, he really does have an absolutely cracking character arc. But they all do, to be fair. Jackie has an amazing character arc. Like, again, without spoiling things, Pete does as well. Like, and the way they do it, like, you would never be able to guess what's coming, JP. But it is done. It's so far fetched and sci-fi and all this nonsense. And yet, what Russell T Davies does great through his tenure is he makes it feel so believable. Like this family aspect, I don't know if it's slightly different for you, Racquel, coming from California, but it's like he nails a British family. Like it's insane. It's so personal.
Absolutely. It resonates over here as well.
But it's a really special, and I think that's what Moffat missed. Is like Moffat's very sort of fairy tale in his tenure, but this is sci-fi and it's ludicrous and it's crazy, but it's so grounded in reality that I think that's why it impacts so much, because it's a show about traveling through space and time. But these series are really, like, if you look at it as a whole, it's a family dynamic. It's Russell T Davies era is a soap, basically. It's a soap opera.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's my favorite era. And
Do
I'm
you get
so,
like EastEnders and Coronation Street and stuff? Have you ever watched any of that?
of course I have.
Really? I'm quite surprised at that. I mean, it's big over here, but I just wouldn't have thought they'd have translated in America. Is it like on just like regular TV?
No, I catch it online. There's no, I have most of my friends, to be honest, are from the UK.
Okay, got you. There you go. So you're basically a Brit.
Yes, that is what. Try talking about Doctor Who over here. No one knows what that is.
Really? I thought it was quite big in the States.
I mean, if you go to like convention places, like where everyone kind of gathers who has the knowledge of Doctor Who or any kind of fandom, but if I even mention Doctor Who, like I was on a date, I would think like a month ago, and I started talking about the shows that I like, and he's like, what's Doctor Who? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, Bill, please.
Oh my God. I'm like, anyways, thank you for your time. I'm leaving. No, it's so rare. That's why I meet most of my friends online.
Right, fair enough. And we've witnessed it firsthand with you. It's a fucking great community, to be fair. Like, I've always been a fan of Doctor Who. I've never really engaged in like I fucking hate social media and online. Don't get me started.
No, don't start.
This is it's a great community. Everybody's awesome. Honestly, like we're a very little, very new podcast show, and we have a lot of people reaching out, and it's just a lovely place to be and lovely people to talk to. And
oh, it
yeah,
is, isn't it? It really is. I mean, I'm a massive football fan, and just like it's kind of the only kind of comparison I've got really to a fan base and everything like that. And you compare to kind of like, and I know it's two different types of people, but so much nicer. Everyone's so much open and happy, and it's just so much nicer. It really is.
I think that's what I enjoy the most about fandoms. I mean, my room is fully decorated in fandom things. I got like these little statues of John Sherlock. I have the TARDIS.
What's your memorabilia that you're most proud of?
Let's see. I would say my TARDIS purse.
TARDIS purse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you're gonna have to post a picture of that on social media so we can see it.
I will.
I'm gonna hazard a guess at Josh's one, and it's gonna be the photo you've got with Peter Capaldi.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant. He's brilliant. But I have a Lego TARDIS, which I am very, very proud of.
Oh, the Lego TARDIS. I have the Funko TARDIS that I found at a thrift shop.
Oh, I love that.
That is one of the many things we don't really get thrift shops over in the UK, and I just love to. You just go in there, and you just don't know what to expect. You could find an absolute gem like that, or you could just find nothing.
Yeah, a pair of used knickers or something. Yeah.
Oh no.
No, that's a different shop.
Oh no.
There are so many thrift shops over here.
Yeah, we have the odd like charity shop. What are they called? Like the Salvation Army shops, I think we have, right?
Yeah, I guess you could probably yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like them, I guess.
But yeah, we don't get any like Macklemore, leopard print fur coats and stuff like that. That's a real rare find.
Yeah, you got to buy them.
If you ever want to find things for cheap, a lot of people recommend going to like at Beverly Hills area, Thousand Oaks, where all the rich people are, and going to those charity shops.
Oh, that would make sense if they're just offloading their stuff in that thrift shop down the road. Yeah.
Actually, wasn't that a line from the Macklemore song? The thrift shop down the road.
It might have been. I was expecting more of a laugh with that one, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean that's actually a fair point because you go in there and I mean, they want to show that they're charitable, so they just go, oh yeah, someone else had it. Imagine
exactly.
Getting something that was worn by a celebrity, you just be like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think the UK is a bit behind on the whole recycling sort of scene compared to America, unfortunately.
Oh, I don't know, mate. When it comes to like recycling cans and plastic bottles and everything, I can never keep up with the rules. It's like, oh, you can recycle this, and now you can't recycle this, and you can do this and that. You spend about an hour going through your kind of your rubbish. You're like, no, can't do that, can do that, can't do that.
Anyway, back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, that sounds like good.
When Peter was right, Peter? Yeah, Peter Allen Tyler was talking to his daughter, and he was trying to flatter her in the flat.
Flatter in the flat, nice.
Oh, nearly Marty McFly'd it.
Well, I love this. I love this because Rose shuts him down so brilliantly. I asked Jack the question, how many times have you been rejected the same way Rose rejects their dad? So, Racquel, same question to you. How many times have you had to shut down a boy in that? It's never going to happen. We're never even going there. How many times have you had to be that brutal to get a guy to be not interested?
So many times I cannot keep count. At
See,
my job, when I was nannying, they had like a electrician over, and yeah, I couldn't even, focus on the kids. This guy was just like in my space.
Eesh.
How many times did he make the joke about making a spark or something like that?
There's a spark between us. I like it. Please tell me he did use that line.
He didn't. I don't think he was bright enough for that.
Hey, bright enough.
Yay.
So I should be an electrician. Honestly, the amount of puns I could make on the day, everyone would just pay me more to leave the site just because I'd be just making so many puns. I'd be like, yeah.
Go on, give us one more pun.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you're very switched on, so.
I can listen to these all day.
Exactly. See, I'm in the wrong profession. That's why I'm wasted in an office.
Fuck's sake, moving very swiftly on. What do you think about Jackie?
Oh no, the hair.
The hair.
That is an 80s style hair, though.
I did read somewhere it was confirmed as a wig, unfortunately.
Oh.
She is so Jackie in this episode.
Yeah, isn't
like
she?
In her purest, truest form, especially when she's like blathering on about like, you name them all Rose. How like
that's one of the best lines in Doctor Who. Where it's like, look, it's my daughter Rose, and she goes, Rose, how sick is that? I'm in absolute stitches. Like, this is such a funny episode. I think we were talking about where it's like, oh, so what am I like in the future? Do I go grey? And Rose is like, obviously, oh, you're dead. So she doesn't say it, and then he looks up and he's like, oh my God, do I go bald? I'm like, what a relatable, that is exactly, I'd be more worried about going bald than I would be dying, like flat out.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know what the worst part about that is, though, like that conversation, is that he knows.
Yeah, exactly.
He already knew.
He does. He knows from the start. He knows from the very start.
Mm-hmm. When he's looking out the church and he can see the car right after he talked to the doctor.
Yeah, he is so good in this episode. It's unbelievable. Honestly, everybody is so good in this episode. Another sort of standout scene for me was when he pulls up at the church with Rose and he just gets into it with Jackie, and like they leave it ambiguous. Has he had an affair before? And the music starts playing, and I was like, this is genuinely a really touching scene. And just seeing Rose's little heart break that her mum and dad aren't, this loved up couple that she wants them to, like, just brutal stuff. Like, you forget this is a kid's show when you watch it, to be totally honest with you.
I honestly was thrown for a loop when I learned that it was supposed to be a kid's show, and Christopher Eccleston referred to it as a kid's show.
Yeah, well, we've sort of got.
How can you view this? How can you view this as a kid's show? I am crying.
Yeah. I mean, it really does touch on everything that a kid's show technically couldn't. I mean, I made a very morbid point to Josh when we spoke about it earlier, in the fact that I was genuinely surprised that they didn't show Peter getting hit by the car, because you look at like Dalek and everything, like they've shown some pretty gruesome deaths as well. And it's just like, you have to remind yourself it's a kid's show, and then they go into this kind of deep topic, topic this episode, that that parents aren't always happy, and that kind of and what Rose was looking back at, thinking her mum and dad had a really good relationship, actually wasn't the best kind of relationship between them. They were always arguing, and it's a very, very deep topic to touch on, really, especially for a kid show.
Especially the fact that Jackie wasn't even upset by her husband not spending their final moments together.
Oh, that's a very.
She was
good
like
point.
off doing his own thing, and she was just holding her baby the entire time.
Yeah, another little dynamic that's just thrown in there. But yeah, like me and Jack, we've got a little tally going on at the minute. There's been a gruesome death in every episode so far, whether it's Clive being shot point blank in the face in front of his kids, right up to the Daleks, executing them and skeletons flying everywhere. Like, this is not a kid show at all. Every single episode in season 1, Cassandra gets blown up. What other gruesome? The neck snaps in fucking The Unquiet Dead. Like, it's basically Game of Thrones. This.
It pretty much is. It's an early Game of Thrones.
Anyway, let's start wrapping things up.
Oh yeah. I guess just to wrap it up. The ending of the episode. How did you guys? Did you guys cry? How did you deal with that?
I mean, it was. I said to Josh, I genuinely thought that like Rose and the Doctor were going to be in the car, because you never see the driver at the start of the episode. You never see the driver. You just see the car, and then you see the vase and everything like that. And the way I was watching it, I thought it was going to be one of those things that Rose was going to have to kill her dad, and I was like, oh, this one's going to be very, very tough. And then, of course, when he nobly goes, no, that's it. I know what I've got to do. It was like, oh, that's quite a touching, it's quite a touching way to kind of have a character leave an episode. But it was, I think the only kind of thing that I have, like looking back, I know there's several seasons of Doctor Who further down the line, and I kind of lost it a little bit because when the Doctor then disappears, of course, that would have been a great bit of tension if you were watching it there and then, because you're like, oh, is the Doctor actually going to come back? Is he going to come back in a couple of episodes' time? Is he not? And of course, I'm like, well, he's obviously going to come back because he's got 8 further seasons down the line. You can't. He's got to come. So I lost that little bit of kind of that tension there, but it was just such a noble way, and again, like it shows Rose's dad's true kind of character, and you can see where Rose gets those characteristics from. She shares both characteristics from her mum and her dad. And I thought it was just a nice way to end the episode.
Yeah, it's a very sort of bittersweet ending. I mean, the bit that emotionally hit me the most was Pete and Jackie's sort of argument outside the church. But talking of resolutions of the episode, again, me and Jack, we've got a little tally going on about how many times it's actually the Doctor that saves the day in this series. And I think it's maybe 60-40, the Doctor doesn't save the day. What do you think about the solution to this episode, Racquel? Again, it not being the Doctor, it being Pete. How does that sit with you?
There's a piece in my Writing Sincerely Companion where I state that the Doctor fights with pulsing weapons.
Yes.
His greatest weapon is the people around him, and whether he uses them to fight his battles for him or to put into motion those battles. Like you said, most of the time, it's not the Doctor who saves the day, it's the people around him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right, to be fair. And that, again, that sort of comes back in the Matt Smith era, right? Where, is it the one with River Song? It's like, it is the Doctor's army, and it's like the people rallying up for him. He doesn't even have to ask them to. Oh, even when Davros comes in at the end of series 4, he's like, you turn these people into soldiers. Yeah, it's just very interesting because, again, having not watched this for a while, in my head, it's always, the Doctor is the one to save the day, but he very, very rarely is, certainly in this series.
Yeah, not to spoil anything, but like at the end of the season, it's Rose who does it.
Yeah, very good point. Very, very good point. You're right. Yeah. No spoilers, though. No spoilers. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Say, that little section there, so many questions. Who's that? Who's River Song? So many questions.
Is there anything that you would like to add before we start wrapping up, Racquel?
No, I think I covered everything.
Perfect. JP,
There's
anything
my
you want to add?
notes here. My home.
3 pages of notes.
Look at that. 3 pages of notes. Smashed them out. And I think that's the only thing I've got to end on is that so far that Father's Day has been my favorite episode.
It's one of my personal favorite episodes of all of New Who.
Yeah, inclined to agree with both. Yeah, definitely.
It never fails to make me cry.
What is your favorite episode of New Who, Racquel?
That's a tough one. It would have to be, unfortunately, Doomsday.
Oh, so you like a tearjerker?
Oh, I love a tearjerker. Sadness is my favorite emotion.
And on that
I
cheery
love.
note, thanks for coming, Racquel.
Next week we're going to sit down and watch Marley and Me.
Followed shortly after by The Fault in Our
It's what
Stars.
You know, I've never seen The Fault in Our Stars.
Great film. But no, I do totally get
what?
you, Racquel. Yeah, sadness is a huge, it's a huge emotion. Yeah, and of course it pulls on the feelings, and we sort of associate that with good entertainment. But thank you very much for coming on our little show, Racquel. We really,
Yeah,
really
no.
appreciate it. For anybody listening, please, we'll link Instagrams and everything in the description. Please go and read Sincerely a Companion. It is genuinely amazing. And I think you said you've got a new piece or an updated piece coming out on the 6th of August, right?
The Sincerely Companion is coming out, the 1 year anniversary thing. And then also the one I sent you that I haven't released yet.
And it is genuinely amazing. Like, talk about a tearjerker. It gets you
Thank you.
all the emotions. It really, really is brilliant. So yeah, thank you for coming on our little show. We will link you on. It's been a really nice sort of almost mid-season treat. We would love to get you on probably for the finale as well. And we'd love it if you would become
Yeah.
a regular guest for us, Racquel. Honestly, it's been a real, real pleasure talking
Yeah.
to you.
Oh, of course. Oh my God, I would love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been
Yeah.
so fun to talk about all of this.
Yeah, there's been a few tangents. We haven't really spoken about the episode. So I think it would be amazing, yeah, if we could get you on for like a series rundown of series 1. Jack will be up to date with all the
Yes.
information.
Updated. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I'm on that.
Yeah, there we go. So we will see you. I think we're there in 3 weeks until we get there. So you'll be joining us again very shortly. Thank you for starting your day with us, being in California.
Yeah.
I'm now ending my day and going off swiftly to bed. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for engaging. And just one final huge thank you to Racquel. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Adios, amigos.